Good evening and welcome to Paxton Raw TV's PRTvSpurs, the reaction show. Tottenham Hotspur 1, Chelsea 4 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium last night. Absolutely mental, crazy. And did I say mental? Well, that's what it was. And joining me to discuss everything that happened, and we could be here for till next Saturday until we play Wolverhampton Wanderers discussing this, but he's my main man, Mr. Sam, Spurs for life. Sam, good evening. I'm not going to ask you really how you're feeling because I think you're feeling the same as me.
Yeah, pretty much. Obviously went to the game yesterday. Saw Sean there. He was literally in front of me before the game. We felt a bit nervous, but the crowd was up for it. The lights went on, the songs came on, all the rest of it, as we would do, and the game started well. But as we know, we'll talk about the whole game in its entirety, I guess. At the end of the day, we lost 4-1 to Chelsea, which is not something you want, but there are mitigating factors. But at the end of the day, we didn't win.
Yes. And I was there at the game. I didn't see you guys, obviously, because I got there. I did get there early, but sort of left a little bit early.
I got there about 7:40, just literally.
Really? Oh, wow.
It's traffic, man. It's mad.
Yeah, that's the problem, innit? But if you're joining us this evening, make sure you subscribe to PRTvSpurs and Paxton Road TV. I'm hoping everyone is in a good mood because I've seen some shit going around on Twitter, on social medias, in the papers. And this is not just from fans from the other clubs, pundits from the other clubs. I'm talking about our own Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, ex-players, pundits, fans. I was on my way home yesterday from the game and I was listening to Talk Sport. Obviously, Jamie O'Hara was having a meltdown. That fucking idiot Colton Cole from West Ham United was having a field day, laughing his head off because his team's doing really well. And then the Spurs fan came on and saying, "Oh, we've got all Spurs back, and this is it now, the beginning of the end, and all this." And I'm like, do you know what? We've lost one game this season, and everyone's fucking having a meltdown. Just relax, take a chill pill. I've lost my voice. I've got a headache, but hey ho, we're here. We're going to talk about the game. In the preview, me and Darius discussed all this, and Darius did say that, they're a decent side, and if there's one team, and I think we all agreed, didn't we? If there's one team that we didn't want to get beat to and one manager, it was them. It was Chelsea, because they've just got it over us now. So I think what we should do is write a letter to the FA and say, Tottenham, Chelsea, can you please just postpone it every season?
I'm just going to have to just depart for 1 second because I sort this Wi-Fi out. I know what the issue is. So yeah, continue on. I'll literally be 2 minutes.
No, that's fine. So, so as we were saying that, we were discussing about them and we didn't want to get beat to them. If there's one team that you don't want to get beaten by, it's Chelsea, because they just think they're better than us. And clearly yesterday, we'll talk about it anyway, but you know what? It's one loss. We was going to get beaten at some point by somebody. Unfortunately, it was Chelsea, but I see a lot of people are getting flack because about Jackson, and they were all saying that he couldn't score in a brothel. But unfortunately, he scored 3 against us. But then again, with 9 men, I'm sure my gran and my aunt and whoever else could have scored. Even Sandra, Mr. Harry Redknapp's wife, Sandra could have scored a hat-trick if Mr. Bent is listening. But yeah, it is what it is, unfortunately. And now what we've got to do is we have to dissect what happened yesterday. It was an absolute mental of the game. I don't know if people saw it on the TV, if people were watching it in the pubs. People, I was at the game, Sean was at the game, Sam was at the game. So we was all at the game. Well, I want everyone else's reaction to the game. I want your reactions to the players, performance, tactics, Chelsea, the referee, everything you want to talk about, just bang it in the box and we will make sure we talk about it, and make sure everyone in the comment sections, make sure you're subscribing and following us, and also put your comments in and we'll get back to you. Sam, let's get straight to this then, because obviously there's a lot going on here. And let's start then. Like I said, Tottenham Hotspur 1. I don't know what's going on here. Tottenham Hotspur 1. Chelsea 4 at our home ground. We've lost our record. Our unbeaten record has finally gone. Sam, we're going to... How do you want to start this then? Do you want to just talk about it in general and then we'll bring up the stats? Or... Actually, I tell you what. Tell me what you think. How was you feeling before the game? How was you feeling when you got into the ground? Because I want your aspect on this. How was the atmosphere before the kickoff? And once that whistle started, what was your feeling?
So overriding feeling was confidence going into the game. You have to be confident going into the game. You are on the back of 8 games winning, 2 games drawn, no defeats. Obviously, we win the game yesterday, go back top of the league, 2 points clear, etc. So I guess from a perspective of pressure, we had that when we played Crystal Palace. You know, everybody said, could we react with the pressure? But Chelsea's obviously a different kettle of fish. I don't like to use cliches, but I use that one. Chelsea are a different proposition in terms of, you know, what their history is against us particularly, and obviously with their history, recent history in terms of their success. So it was never going to be a straightforward, easy game. If I was on a preview, and this is with hindsight, I was thinking 2-0 to Spurs. But again, not an easy 2-0. A 2-0 that was going to be problematic because of the way that Chelsea can play. And you never know what team Chelsea turn up with. I think the biggest overriding factor for me is that we don't... Yesterday was emotional. You know, when you come out the ground and you're bloody walking up the high road and everybody's like, you get to the station and there's loads of people, you can't get it. Your emotions are high, so you're always going to be negative about stuff. Today, I've had a time to think about it. And it's probably a good job we didn't do the reaction show yesterday because it would have been effing and blinding and all the rest of it. Our record is not good against Chelsea. Had we had a 11v11, who knows what the score would have been? It would have been probably a better game from it's a good game from a neutral's perspective anyway, but it would have probably been a lot closer in terms of our philosophy and playing the football, all the rest of it. But what it did show for me yesterday is that we are relying on a few players, and now obviously the biggest factor that we can take out of that game for me is the injuries to certain players and obviously players that are going to be missing over the next few weeks.
You know what? I agree. And what you said, 2-0, we done the preview show, me and Darius, and I think the general census, and even from everybody that was watching on stream, on comment section, everybody was 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1 to Spurs. I said 2-1, Darius said 2-1. I think he said 2-1 on your behalf. Everybody in comment section was going 2-1, 2-1, 2-1. So I think the fair assumption was it was going to be a very tough game. The record said it for itself. I think 62 games and we've only beaten them 8 times at our place. And they've won 33 games against us, 22 draws. It was... The stats are mental. I think every Spurs fan knows the stats against Chelsea are absolutely mental. But myself, going to the ground, I was buzzing. Got to the stadium. Do you know what? I got to the stadium at about 40 minutes before kickoff. Ticket office was literally about 50 people, which I was like, hey, normally it's queues galore. Then I started walking to just before obviously, the security checks. Nobody in sight. And I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Got my ticket scanned, went upstairs, went through the barriers, got to my turnstile. I'm looking around and I'm like, are we late? Are we missing something? Because it was dead. And then we got into the stadium, obviously, and it was kind of busy. Started getting, the aura around the stadium was confidence. Everybody's up for it. They were all like, yes, we're going to get this. And then obviously the game started, first 15 minutes. And not even forget the first 15 minutes. When the music came on, the lights went down and everything. It was absolutely buzzing. Then the game kicked off. First 15 minutes. I think we'll do it in we'll do it in sections, right? So lineup, we expected it. We did say that Emerson Rowe was going to come in for Destiny Odyssey because we didn't realize at the time he wasn't playing, but he played. Johnson was started like we predicted. Talk to me about the first 15 minutes of the game, Sam. What did you make of the first 15 minutes?
it's typical game against Chelsea, I think, and that's probably it started quickly. You know, the game started quickly. I think from memory, because again, you're emotionally you're emotionally charged when you're in this game, so you don't always see what's probably there in front of you. You see kind of, you know, bits and pieces of the game and not always watching the whole game. But I tried to watch the whole game as a whole. So we started well. You know, I think that first few minutes, you know, there may have been a couple of Chelsea chances, but we score after, what is it, 5 minutes, you know, a deflected own, I wouldn't say an own goal because it's given to Kulusevski, but it was a deflected goal. And we had the ascendancy. Again, the way that we play, I've always maintained that we are going to give up a lot of chances, but we rely on two very good defenders at the center of the pitch in Van der Ven and Romero to get us out of trouble in terms of, you know, recovery, all the rest of it. And that looked like it was going to be the case. Chelsea were going to have chances, but we were also going to have chances, and we could have maybe had a couple more goals. So the first 15 minutes, I'm okay, but it's still, the game hasn't settled. You know, I always, when I'm a coach, look at the game from about 25 minutes onwards, or 30. That's when the game should be settled. But what I found yesterday, and we'll go into it if you want to go over the 50 minutes, the game was never really settled because there was event after event after event. There's the VAR incident, stopped the game. You know, the penalty incident, you know, that everything just seemed so hyped. It wasn't, although we had control, the game wasn't controlled, if that makes sense. There was so much going on. And I guess if you're watching on TV as a neutral fan, you're thinking, this is bloody brilliant. This is fantastic. But as a fan, it's like, what's happening?
Yeah.
So I want to break down what actually happened and what the mistakes were. And, you know, there's obviously the manager has to take some responsibility as well. Yeah. Everybody has to take responsibility. So, yeah, let's do it that way.
Yeah, that's it. So the first 15 minutes for me, I think, do you know what? This is my analogy of it, right? You laugh at it, you may not, you may do, you may not. It's like you've got your dream girl that you've always wanted, yeah? You've been chasing her for months or years or whatever, and you've got her, and then you just want to get it all over and done within the first 15 minutes. You know what I mean? You want to meet her, take her out, dine her, wine and dine her, do everything else in the first 15 minutes, and then that's it, done over. That's what it felt like to me. We started off the game really well. Chelsea were all over the place because their team's always all over the place. We sort of went at them for the first 5-10 minutes, like you said. We scored the goal. But then, rather than thinking, okay, we've got the 1-0, let's just control, relax, see what they've got now. Let's see how they're going to do, what they're going to do. But no, we just went gung-ho, kept going. And it looked like everyone was so hyped and piped up. I don't know whether it was the Poch effect, whether it was the Chelsea effect, whether it was just them knowing about the history, the Battle of the Bridge and the fans and all that. And they all wanted to destroy Chelsea in the first 15 minutes. It seemed like that. Everybody was just so hyped up. It was just so frantic. It was madness. You just couldn't like sit down because every time you sat down, you got back up again because there was something going on. What I did notice in that first 15 minutes as well is the amount of space Brennan Johnson on the left-hand side. It was a no contest because there was like 15, 20 yards, maybe more every time we had the ball in our own half. The amount of space he had, it was absolutely mental. Kulusevski started off really well. It looked like he had Colville on toast. Yeah. Both the wingers look like they've got their markers on toast. And then we settled down. We let them get into the game. There's a lot of stats that after we scored that first goal, we never had another shot. They had 7. We didn't do anything. So we sort of settled down. So that was the first 15 minutes. It was just frantic. Like you said, stop. They had a goal disallowed. Then Son had the goal disallowed. Then we move on to the next section. So do you want to move on to the next section, or shall I bring on the stats and whatever? Or let's
bring on the stats because like it's difficult because the game is so it's so much that happening into it. It's kind of difficult to do in them sets. But like I said, the first 15 half an hour, you could kind of see how the game, the incidents that changed the game are obviously penalty incidents and the sendings off. You know, those are things that obviously changed the game, and there is still a degree of us that we could have still done okay, and we could have probably played just as well with 10 men as we did with 11. Not to say we would have been, you know, the dominant team, but you could play just as well because you're only missing one player, and you can accommodate when you're trying to accommodate for 2 players, and we'll get onto that. But yeah, let's have a look at the stats because I'll be interested to see. They're going to be skewed, I know, but yeah, let's see.
Yeah, this, you know what, it is what it is, isn't it? I mean, 39% possession, 61% possession to Chelsea. Shots, we had 8, they had 17. Shots on target, we had 5, they had 8. Right, and we can look into this because me personally, playing against 9 men, you've had 8 shots on target and 17 in total. That's fucking ridiculous. You know what I mean? If that was Man City, it probably would have been 170 shots and 90 on target. But corners, it was 1 and 6. And then I've bought on this as well. I mean, we can talk about it all in general. Touches, we had 515. They had 682. Again, 11v9. If you're looking at whatever point, 682 touches to our 515. 317 passes to their 502. This was the turning point. 1 yellow, 2 reds. They had 5 yellows, and our passing accuracy 79% to 86%. Anything in general you want to focus on?
So if you look at those stats, obviously, if you look at the page before, so we don't have to go back to the page, but I'm just saying those people who've seen the page before, if you looked at that and you looked at that as an 11v11 game for Spurs playing at home against Chelsea, you'd think, oh, that's a typical Spurs. You know, that's how we've played against Chelsea in the past. That's the sort of stats you might expect from a team that was like a Conte type team based with 11v11. We know that the situation was different because it wasn't for 60 minutes of that game, probably even more because of the added time given in both halves. That's 11v9, you know, for 60 minutes of that game. So if you look for that first half an hour, I would say our stats were probably very progressive. I would even say up to the point we got the second man send off, our stats were probably very progressive in terms of the numbers and that. But the incidents, we have to talk about the incidents now. The players probably felt the same sort of, I wouldn't say anxiety, because that's probably the wrong phrase, but the excitement. They were caught up in that we were caught up in as fans, because, you know, when the lights went off, everybody had their phones out. It was like, it felt weird. It felt like a European night as opposed to just a Monday night football game. I know it's Chelsea coming to us, but it just seemed a little bit out of context for what it was. Now, we shouldn't have that history with some of the players there because of the fact of the 2016 Battle of the Bridge. Those players, 1 or 2 of them were there obviously yesterday, but most of them from both sides weren't there. So it wasn't that was going to be it. But it's the history of playing a London team, playing Chelsea, who had Poch. Those factors, when you add them all together, made the game a little bit more spicy. We didn't cope with that spice as well as Chelsea did, because Chelsea had 5 yellow cards. You know, it wasn't like they weren't on the edge of playing that type of football as well, but they played just within it. They used a lot of gamesmanship. They used a lot of experience, if I can use that word, even though they're a new team. And you know what? I think probably at half time, Poch probably said to this lot, I don't know, I'm not saying this is definite, but Poch knows the mentality of Spurs. And he could probably feel the sort of mentality that was going to be coming out of the Spurs player because of the excitement, and because we were 1 man down, and because we went into that game at halftime. I think it was 1-1 at halftime, wasn't it? Yeah. So again, we played into their hands. We played into their hands a lot. And Romero getting sent off. The tough bit about that was he deserves to be sent off. I didn't see it until afterwards in terms of close up. Yeah, he deserved to be sent off. Let's not get that twisted.
Before we talk about that, Sam, just give me 1 second. Guys, if there's anybody in the comment section, I know you're all typing away frantically. I'm going to post the link on there now, right? If you want to come on. You don't have to show your face if you don't want to, but I know if you're passionate, if you just want to talk about it, we can just listen to your audio. You don't have to put your picture on there or your face, but I'm going to post the link in there. And if anyone want to come on and have your say, feel free to do so. So I've just posted the link in the comment section, guys and ladies. If you want to just come, get on, we'll put you on and you can have your say if you want. Sam, before you talk about the sending off, I want to talk about what led to the sending off. For me, personally, That run that Romero did from inside our own half, from defense, all the way to the keeper, and then he's done that stupid tackle on Silva. Yeah, I think that instigated it all, because there was a little bit of backlash. Obviously, the Brazilian, Argentinian, whatever it was. For me, from there, I sort of saw, I thought, here we go, something's going to brew. And lo and behold, within the next 5 minutes, he does what he does.
Yeah, because you can expect that from the game. You know that players are gonna, at that level of football, you have to be controlled. It looked like Romero had kind of lost a little bit of that control. We've seen it for the first 10 games of the season, and we've applauded Postecoglou for being able to get him to play. But he's that type of player. He's an emotional player. Those South Americans, and I'm not saying those South, what I mean by that is I've seen a lot of South American players, with Charlatan, one of them with us. They're very emotional in how they play. It's kind of like on or off sort of thing. Romero's been able to be a little bit more controlled, and I think that's to do with the fact that he's got a very good partner beside him in terms of Van de Ven. But yesterday, it just seemed too hyped. You know, that challenge he made in the box, it was too rash. You don't want to be diving in. We've seen him do that before. And yes, he's given away penalties before, handballs and all the rest of it, but it just seemed too rash. And I think it was the right decision. And after that, it was a case of, right, we need to keep 10 players on because we're still in this game.
Yeah.
And then we then go and, we will discuss that. But I just think, for me, the control aspect of the game wasn't there. And hindsight now, we've got to look back at that game. We've got to think to ourselves, it was Chelsea. You know, as much as they're Chelsea in 13th or wherever they were, is Chelsea. And the record suggests that we don't do well against them. So it's a mindset thing now against them. So when we play them at the Bridge, we'll see what our mindset's like against this.
Yeah. And I think there's what you're saying is correct with him losing his mind. It seemed like he was too pumped up. And I think, you know, the Chelsea connection, obviously, I don't know whether the South American connection played a part in it, but Romero really needed to just calm down a little bit and just, you know, just relax. Because I think we didn't have any leadership yesterday. We needed someone to actually show a little bit of leadership, and there wasn't. So as for the events, right, 6 minutes, Tottenham Hotspur scores, right? Kulusevski scores. 14th minute, Spurs get a goal disallowed. What a move that was, right? What an absolute belter of a move. Son's goal gets disallowed. 21 minutes, Chelsea get a goal disallowed. 28 minutes, Chelsea get a goal disallowed. And then 33 minutes is where the game turns. Romero gets that red card. Chelsea obviously goes to VAR. And Palmer scores the goal. Now, the debate was it a red card? Because it was a farce. Originally, they went for the goal scored. They went for offside, right? Then they thought, okay, it's not offside, or he was offside. Let's then pull it back further. So now they've looked at the tackle. Now I'm thinking, hold on a second. You're looking at the tackle, but it can't be a red because you can't do double jeopardy. You can't give a penalty and a red card because you've already... the game's carried on. They've scored. So why then, if it's a goal, allowed a goal? No, they've pulled it back. Now, yes, it's a sending off at hindsight. He wins the ball first. He wins the full ball. Now, people are comparing that to Curtis Jones. Curtis Jones doesn't win the ball. Curtis Jones goes over the ball. Romero's won the ball first. Then he's gone in with that tackle. Fair enough. But then they don't know what the hell they're doing. And it's taken 5-6 minutes. Then they're saying excessive force. So now, are we now saying you're not allowed to tackle as a defender? You can't put any force on a tackle. You can't do the 1970s, 80s tackles where you go in to win the ball and you take the man. In the days, because that's man, pardon my pun, but football. Now, are we now saying if you win the ball 100% and you still get the man, you're going to get penalized? Because if that's what you're saying, then you might as well stop tackling, right? that debate's now going to go on and on and on. I think Spurs, I hope they appeal it, because I personally don't think it was red. Anyway, he's red. They've scored the goal. Now, the Papa Saw incident, Sam, with Colwill. At that time, obviously, I was behind the goal, so I was on the north stand, so I didn't exactly see what happened. But it scuffle or whatever, and then he got a little bit heated up, Colwill. Now, I've heard today, I don't know if you've heard this, but my son was saying, Carragher said, if Emerson Royal and Bissouma didn't get involved, Colwill gets sent off. And that's Carragher's opinion, because he said them two saved Colwill from getting sent off.
Yeah, the incident was hard to see from where I was, but what I could see from that was Colwill didn't want to let it go. Whatever it was, he didn't want to let it go, because he was literally, but like I said, there was Spurs players holding him back. Now, you don't want to see violence in any game in any sport, in any profession, anything really. But it looked like, to me, Colwill was looking to go and do something to him, whether he's going to push it. It looked like he'd lost his head so much that he was going to do something that was going to have got him a yellow card sent off. He got a yellow card, but possibly sent off. The fact that Chelsea took him off at half time, was it half time they took him off?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Showed me everything. He told you they weren't prepared to take that risk with a player that they knew up here might lose it again. And that's fair. That's what management is supposed to do. Now, we could look back and say the same thing about Jodi. Should he have been taken off at half time to avoid himself getting another yellow card? But then we were already down to 10 men. And we'd already made several substitutions. And I think Jodi made a good point in the group chat today that had he then made a substitution, they would have had no more subs left to play anyway. So that was a bit of a balancing act that didn't go our way. However, going back to the Romero incident, in the box, I personally don't think you can tackle like that. No. Yes, you can tackle in the game, but in the box, you are taking that risk. Because even if, let's say, he made a clean tackle, there was a chance that he could have not made a clean tackle and caught the player anyway, and then it's going to be a penalty. What I disagreed with now was I thought that double jeopardy thing had gone. I thought if you give a penalty, you don't get sent off and vice versa. Now, it must be because of the violent force, excessive force, or whatever it is that he's got sent off. But that's it. That's double jeopardy for us. Player gets sent off. One of our best defenders, if not the best defender that we've had this season, and they score from it, and they're 10 men, we're 10 men, and then we've got to then, continue playing the way we're doing. And that's the issue now. Looking at what we do, we're not going to stop. And I've seen a picture now of when we had 9 men, the old adage in the sport is, if you do not have pressure on the ball, you can't hold your line. You have to drop. There was a point where there was 8 players just in one line.
I know.
And whoever was going to make the pass just has to wait and watch a runner front from deep. You can't mark every player when you've got only 8 outfield players. It was an impossible task to stop Chelsea from getting opportunities to score. And it took them until the bloody 90-something minutes to actually make the scoreline look a lot more into their favour. But they had so many opportunities against us because it can't work. You can't play a high line and not have pressure on a midfielder. So maybe there should have been a little bit of a tweak in terms of the way that they played. But it was a hard task anyway. And respect to Ange, he's going to play that way. I accept it. It's not nice, but I accept it.
So going back to the Romero, right? And you're going on Jodi and what you were saying about the substitutions. When Romero gets sent off, right? Dyer's then brought on. Yeah. I think one of our best players at that time, Brennan Johnson, got taken off, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, you got to sacrifice someone. So it was a matter of either him or Kulusevski. So they've gone with Johnson. Then already the temperament of Udogie, because we've seen it as well many times. How many times has he done that? I think what game was it when he was 10 minutes into the game, he got yellow and then he played the whole game and he didn't get one. Should he have made that sub and taken him off? Because obviously, yes, we can understand. Yeah, so should he have made a double sub at that point and took off Udogie and Johnson and brought on Dyer and Emerson Royal, maybe, right? That's my first part. Second part, and I think Kevin Gonzalez is saying here, Romero's just got red carded. They've got a penalty. Carlton Palmer, for fuck knows what reason, decides to go and shush the first Spurs fans in that corner because he's been at Chelsea for 15 years, right? That then tells you we now need to react, yeah? And at that point now, shouldn't their captain, for example, Son or Maddison, even Postecoglou, should have called somebody over and said, right, guys, come here. Calm the fuck down. We've just lost Romero, yeah? We now need to just relax, try and get a hold of the game. They've just equalized. The ascendancy is now going to be with them because they've got 11. We've got 10. We've lost one of our centre-backs. Yeah? Just calm down, start all over again, and relax. Didn't happen. No reaction. Yeah? And
you know what? I was going to say, I think they probably did have that at half time. Maybe not in the 50 minutes up. Well, it was more than 50 minutes. It was like 12 minutes in that first half in terms of stoppage time. So there was a lot of stops in the game, as we talked about already. But definitely at half time, that message, as long as other messages, must have been put through to the players. Listen, we're down to 10 men now. We can still control this game. We've still got the players on the pitch. You're on a yellow card. Just be careful what's going on. Whoever's on the yellow card, you know what I mean? Cool. You know, we've got to keep 10 men on the pitch to give us an opportunity. It's 1-1. Those are the sort of message I'll be giving. I don't know what then happened because within 10 minutes of the half, the second half starting, should I say, they've already then got opportunities at goal, and then we have to get Udogie sent off because it was a tackle that I don't think he had to make, but once he did make it, it was always going to be a yellow card.
Just want to go back to the first half. Do you think then all these stoppages, the fact that the referee kept going, Oliver kept going to VAR and VAR kept taking 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes because they haven't got a clue what they were going. Again, they were trying to do what they did at Arsenal and Newcastle's game where they were trying to eliminate every part of a goal. Whatever they wanted to do was waste time. Do you then believe that, I personally believe that them stoppages in play had some kind of a key factor in Maddison getting injured and most importantly, Van der Ven getting injured because stop, sort of starts playing havoc with your hamstrings and whatever. Do you think that's stoppages played a key part in them?
I don't know because I look at it. They do the same thing in training. When you train, it's stop-start, and you train in all kinds of weather. So we could say, "Oh, was it a bit cold?" Blah blah blah. No, the intensity of the game was what I think caused some of those injuries. You know, Van der Ven, the intensity, as you quite rightly said, if you stop and start, but you're literally sprinting all the time, you're susceptible to those injuries anyway. That's why I've said, you know, we always have to have a centre back based on the style of play that we have. We can't go through the season without any of these players not either getting sent off, suspended, or getting an injury, because the way that we play means that you're basically a sprinter. So you're going from 0 to 60 every whatever. And because we have so many opportunities against us, those defenders have to keep doing that. Chelsea had a lot of pace in their team. And Sterling was one of those players that was causing that problem on that right-hand side or left-hand side for them. But in hindsight now, looking back, taking off Johnson, because we went down to 9 men, the importance of having him on would have meant we could play in that transition. We could have probably played a little more deeper because you had pace to break.
Yeah.
I didn't think Richarlison didn't obviously come on.
Nope.
We brought on more midfielders than we brought on forward. So it was a game. It seemed to me it was a case we were going to try to control the game still. But you can't control a high line possession game if you don't have pressure on the ball. And if you've got 9 men, it's almost impossible for Chelsea not to have a spare man. And I could see it every single time Chelsea picked up that Enzo, whoever it was. All they had to wait was a player to run from deep. And it was just waiting to happen. But, you know, yeah, there's a lot of factors. Next game, we're going to have to see who this defense is, Sid, because I think that's going to be the key. And who's playing in central defense. Listen,
and we'll talk about that in a minute. I want to talk about the second yellow for Destiny Ojiji because I was behind that goal. As soon as the ball was played wide to Sterling and he went running, I don't know what he thought. And I think David Clark is saying here, obviously you're trying to tell me that a Spurs coach didn't have a word with Odeji at halftime. Of course they did. The fool must have had wax in his ears. When he started running, we all looked, and I said, I hope he doesn't make a challenge. He was never, ever in a month of Sundays getting that ball. Ever. So why, maybe waxing his ears, are you then sliding in already knowing you've got a yellow on a player like Sterling who needs any little bit, and you know he's going down like a sack of potatoes? Why then are you doing that stupidness? And as soon as he went down and he done that tackle, he knew he's off. Is that just naivety? Is that just him being young and just coming to the grasp of the Premier League and trying to understand that some of these players like Sterling and Demlot are going to be, once you're in the yellow, are they going to come for you?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of factors to that. You know, I think Ange tells these players to keep playing the way that they're playing. I don't think he's a coach that tells you not to do what you naturally want to do in situations, because that's how you build the mentality of players. Are you making the right decisions at the right times in a game? So he's not going to say to him, don't slide tackle, because obviously he might have thought that he was saving a goal scoring opportunity or whatever the rest of it is. There was two things that happened in that incident. One, when the ball came across, because it was on the far side of where I was watching, but I could see it. We got back into shape. The ball then got deflected because it came off his foot and was going wide. And Sterling was then chasing after it. And I said, you don't need to make the challenge now. The ball deflected. It's going away from. It wasn't coming towards the goal. It was going away towards the touchline. And I'm thinking to myself, just don't make the challenge. Even if you got it right, just don't make that challenge, because you don't need to now. We're back in shape. He's then got to do something else to get past him. But that's where the naivety, that's where being 21 comes into play. That's where, you know, possibly being coached to play your game has now come into his play. And he's thinking, I can win this ball and then we can be on the attack. Instead, he didn't win the ball. And what happened.
Yeah. That's, you know what, that's what it is. And I think Dave is very angry with Udogie and Romero, because he's obviously saying these two idiots caused the injury to Van der Vaart. If we had 11 on the pitch, Van der Vaart would not have to keep turning and sprinting 30 yards every 30 seconds. It was almost inevitable that he could pull. I don't think it would have been every 30 seconds, but they did have some pace and they were getting at us. And I think maybe not have caused the injury, but it was a through ball through the middle. It wasn't down the wing, so he had to turn and sprint backwards. So I think maybe not. I don't know, but it's one of them. Right, Sam, this is the team that started. Obviously, no qualms about that. And then obviously it was... Okay, I don't want to listen to you. Right, so obviously then you had the Kulusevski goal. Then you had the Udogie yellow, Romero red, Udogie red. Then the substitutions. There we go. So we ended up with, literally, that's what it was. We'll talk about the game more. Obviously, now we're down to 9 men. And like you said, we've got a lot of midfielders stroke defenders on the pitch now. What did you make of obviously Dyer, Skip, Højbjerg, Bentancur, Emerson Royal all coming on with as 9 men? What did you think of their performances coming on? I mean, especially Dyer, who's not touched the ball all season, and then he's come on, he scored that wonder goal, which got chalked off.
I can see Dyer's flaws, right? So I watched him, and we could probably, let's say it was 11v11. Dyer would be okay. He's not going to be brilliant. 11v10, Dyer's going to be okay. The way he tries to defend, he tries to catch people offside because he doesn't trust his pace. So Van der Ven can try to play someone offside, but he knows he can always get... If you're on the halfway line, you still got 50 yards, 40 odd yards before you even get to the box to have a shot at goal, will be engaging. So there's 30 yards there where he's brilliant at that first 30 yards. So he's always going to... Dyer the way he plays, he tries to make that curve run to get the player offside. But what he doesn't do, and you can't do this as a footballer, you don't look across the line. Because if you're thinking you're playing your player offside and you're looking that way, what's happening behind you? Is your player, sorry, one of our players, keeping the other players on side? You can't play like that. So you've got to be looking across the line. He also doesn't play with his back to our goal. He plays almost on the side where he's trying to look to do that sort of arching thing. And I said, that technique cannot work for us because he's not quick enough to recover if he's already gone 2 yards forward to then go another 2 yards then to catch the player. You either have to stay level with the player and just trust that you're on the halfway line. And then if the player runs, you make that, because that's what Van der Ven has done. That's why Van der Ven's so successful. Because now we've got Dyer in there, there's no recovery. There's nobody else that can come across from the other side to help him out. Had Van der Ven and Dyer been on the same at the pitch for longer, that's maybe what would have happened. He would have been able to cover him a bit more. Once he's gone off, we've got Royal and Dyer in the centre back. It's an accident waiting to happen, because as much as they want to defend, they ain't got it up there to defend that properly, and they don't have the pace to be able to do it either.
Yeah, and I think it was very difficult for him, though, to be fair, to come on as with 9 men and try and get into the game, because as soon as he came on, mate, it was a sprint, weren't it? It was every time he had to sprint against Jackson.
Yeah, he came on after 30-something minutes when Thingy got sent off. So it wasn't like he didn't have time. He had time. But once Van der Ven gets sent off, Dyer then becomes even more difficult to watch because he can't be covered. He's the one now that's the leading defender. And then remember, he came across to the left-hand side and Royal went on the right-hand side. And we've all seen Dyer on the left. We know what's going to happen. And I knew eventually Chelsea would get opportunities to take, and they did take him. But if I'm looking at Dyer's performance in isolation, I think we can cope 11v11 with him.
Yes. When
Romero's back, but it's the next 3 games, mate. That's what I'm concerned about.
Yeah.
Who's going to play centre-back for the next 3 games?
Yeah, and we'll do that right at the end, because I now want to talk about what everybody else has been talking about and debating, and Mr. Postecoglou sticking by it. This high line with 9 men. I mean, everybody's seen them pictures. Everyone's seen that the analysis from Jamie Carragher where he's saying this brilliant. I fucking love this. He said, look at them, 9 of them all in a line, and you got 4 Chelsea players behind them. He said, absolute madness. Why would you, and you've said it, why would you play such a high line with 9 men with Sterling, Mudryk, Palmer, Cucurella, all of them lot on the pitch, and you're defending from the halfway line? Should it have been what Liverpool done? Bring on every single defender that you can think of and just sit back and let the team come at you to break you down. Is this naivety, or is it stupid, or is that how it is? Because if you listen to the quote he said, listen, with 11 men, that's the way I play. 9 men, that's the way I play, mate. Mm-hmm. If I've got 5 players, mate, that is the way we are going to play. That is my way.
100%. And I respect that from him as a perspective. But there has to be a personnel and profile players to be able to do that. You can play 11v9, as Liverpool did against us. They didn't have their 2 centre-backs sent off. That's one thing. So they both had their first choice centre-backs in place. Had we had Romero and Van der Ven in place and we had 2 other players sent off, I think we can cope. I think we can cope with that from a defensive point of view. Yes, they're going to have opportunities, but you can cope more. The problem we had is because everybody, from what I could see, didn't have faith in the fact that we were always going to be able to recover. We had Højbjerg dropping into the back line. Then Skip comes on. Skip decides that he's more defensive player, so he's going to drop into the back line. So what you had was, as you said, you had a line, but no banks of 3 in front. So you could have maybe manipulated a team to have a 5-3 system, or even a 5-2-1, or even a 4-3-1 system. What we found out eventually, as we said, his method of playing defensive football is like to play a high line but have everybody on the line. It works if you've got pace, but if you've got timing and a spare player, professional players are not going to not be able to find them. If I'm playing in that game and I've been given 10 yards and 10 seconds to play a pass, I think I can still play a pass in the right area. Maybe it might not be as quality. Of course, it's not going to be the same quality, but I've given time. Most players will pick the right pass and most players will pick the right runs. That's going to have to be something we're going to have to see, because now we know that we haven't got our first choice centre-backs for the next 2 games. How do you think we're going to play? I think we'll play the same way, but I think the personnel has to be different. We have to have
something before I answer that one. Up until 75 minutes, we were still in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Even when they scored 2-1 at 75 minutes, we were still in the game.
We had opportunities still.
We had 2 opportunities, the Son and the Bentancur one. I don't know what Bentancur was doing for that one.
Dyer scored as well, remember? Don't forget that. Dyer scored from that free. That's the other thing. We had some free kicks that,
that's right,
putting the ball into the box, they were causing Chelsea no end of problems, even with 9 men. And I was thinking, we need to do some Burnley stuff here. We need to do some getting some free kicks. Whatever we need, get the ball, because that was our opportunity. And again, the naivety of not doing it. I think we played short a couple of times when I'm thinking, just load the box, get the keeper to take that free kicks and put if you're going to lose that way.
Yeah. So up until that time, up until the 94th minute, we were still in the game. And with 9 men, we created 2-3 good chances and a disallowed goal. Yeah. So we were never out of it. They just were not. I mean, I've never ever seen a Chelsea side so fucking poor. They were not very good. And to score 2 goals in 94th, 98th minute and then start doing your sue and saying he's back, they're one of the best strikers now going to be in the Prem, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what land they're living in. But it took Chelsea added time to actually seal the game. We could have nicked a 2-2 draw. In fact, we should have done, but we didn't. Anyway, so that's that. Now we go on to what you're saying, yeah? But before we go on to what you're saying, let's just have a quick what people are saying in here. Dino says, saying, wow, evening panel, only 3 players that started finished. I feel beat up. Simply Ace, did you hear about Ange saying he would play the same with 5 men? Yeah, we just covered that.
Well, you can't. Effectively, you can't play the same way with 5 men.
Of course.
That's just an off the cuff saying, because what he's basically saying is he's going to play his style of football regardless. But if you had 5 men, you can't play like that. It's impossible. Yeah. And the game would be stopped anyway. So,
yeah, of course. Simply Ace, Darren Davies back at centre back or for the next couple of games. Romero is one of these dangerous dogs. The Ndogi tackle set him off. And from that moment, it was inevitable that he was going to be sent off because it was too late to muscle him. Simply Ace is saying, if Romero was world class, he cannot keep having his fits, as he has played well this season, but it only costs us if this goes on, and this is what it is going to be. Poro is shocking defender. I don't think so, David. I have to disagree with you. I don't think he's shocking. I think he's not as bad as what everyone is saying.
He's not shocking. He's not shocking, but he's
he needs work.
He does. He does need defensive work. But we need him in the way that we play. He's not particularly playing in defense when you're controlling the game. He's playing in midfield. So that's what he's playing for. He's only playing in defense when they're in transition. Or when we have a lot of control, players should be in positions for more attacking wise. It's the transition aspect of it, I think Poro lacks. So he's getting from the midfield area back into his right back position. And then when he gets there, sometimes he doesn't always make the right decisions. But I think that can come with a lot of work on the training field. But I think we need him for going forward more so than anything. Raw's not the one.
Yeah. David Clark, a high line at the halfway line with 9 men is crazy. With this law, it let their striker be 5 yards offside because through balls come out wide. So when Sterling broke, Jackson had that 5-yard start. Yeah, agree. David Clark, don't slag Bentancur. It was a ball which bounced at midriff height, which meant he couldn't use his ball and could only stoop with that. I'm not slagging him off. I'm just saying he should have scored. But obviously, Colin Udishu is ridiculous. 20 years old. Romero was one known have put us under pressure, getting sent off in his first place. He's vice captain. I think Udoji's just learning. I think it's all learning. Who's this? You. All this talk about leadership crew. Where was the leadership to calm the teammates down when they lost their control? This is what we said at the beginning, didn't we? We didn't have that. Somebody should have calmed them all down. But yeah. Right, Sam, coming on to the weekend then. So Romero misses 3 games. So he misses Wolves, Villa, and Manchester City. If Bissouma gets yellowed on Saturday, he misses Villa. If he gets yellowed against Villa, he misses Man City. So we're in a predicament there. Centre-back wise, Romero's 3, like I said. Van der Ven, we haven't got a clue. There's no updates yet, but it could be months. So Phillips got left out of the under-21s today, and he's not in the so that's a telling thing that Phillips has been called. So that means he's going to be in the squad or team. You asked me that question, Sam, and honestly, I haven't got a clue. I think Dyer starts. I don't know what's going on with Davis. I don't know if he's going to be fully fit on Saturday. If he is fully fit, maybe he's played centre-back. Maybe he plays Dyer and Davis. Obvious one is Phillips, but for me, Phillips is inexperienced, and Liverpool have done it. Other clubs have done it. You throw him in when you need him. What's your thoughts?
My thoughts are you can't play Dyer and Davis together. In my opinion, I don't think you can. That goes back to last season. That goes back to the season before.
Of course.
We can't play that system. Now, hindsight again, had we had a bit more of a mid-block as opposed to, don't have to have a low block. You don't have to be on your camped on your 18 yards, but 5 to 10 yards from that halfway line, and your keeper plays on the edge of his box even further. That means that ball over the top can't be. Let them have it wide. But then what you do is then you defend your box, you defend the crosses. I don't think Chelsea were very good at crossing in terms of meeting them and getting opportunity. I don't remember a lot of headed opportunities, but what they did do well was that ball across for an attacker running. So that's the first thing. So now if we're going to persist with the high line, you have to have pace. Regardless of how good a defender Ashley Phillips is, I'm pretty sure he's quicker than Dyer, and I'm pretty sure he's quicker than Ben Davies. So he has to play in one of them positions. Dyer can't play left side, so is Ashley Phillips going to play that side? We haven't even seen him play. We've seen Ben Davies play. I've seen him play this season already. I know he's going to be a problem. Yeah, play him at centre back. It's going to be a problem.
It's a problem. It's a massive problem. Massive problem. And like you said, Wolves is not going to be easy. Villa and then Man City, that's 3 massive. And we've got West Ham for them and Newcastle into the equation. Massive games. And I
think he will play Ben Davies. I think, all right, to answer your question, I think my personal opinion is against Wolves, I think he'll go safe. I think he'll go Dyer, Davis, but Ashley Phillips might make an appearance because the games after that, I think you are going to need quicker defenders.
Yes.
City definitely, Villa definitely.
Yeah. And I'm not concerned about the forwards or the midfields because I think Maddison was taken off for precaution. I think Maddison will be fit for Wolves. Right. We had Gill on the bench yesterday who didn't play. We also had who else?
Lo Celso didn't come on.
Lo Celso didn't come on. So I think midfield and forward line, I don't think we've got a problem. It's defensively we've got a problem. And then this one just coming out of the woodwork yesterday or today as well, Richie. I cannot understand how all of a sudden he's decided to have a hip surgery. You could have had that in the summer because he said he didn't play well in the summer and whatever.
Right.
That's a bizarre one. Absolutely.
I'll tell you why. He's not playing. He's not playing football. I think he's already made comments about he wants to play and he's not playing enough and all. Well, if you're not playing, you're getting paid whatever you're getting paid. Oh, you know what? Might as well get my surgery done.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's what he's thinking, but if I'm in his position and I'm thinking in a game like yesterday, he didn't come on. Now I know that probably there was other players that could have come on as well, but he didn't come on at all.
Yeah.
At all, even when we were chasing it. So again, the substitutions suggest to me that we weren't looking to use him in that. We were looking to contain and play from there. The Brennan Johnson thing was the biggest thing in that. So going back to the point again, Richarlison having hip surgery now. Oh, fucking hell. What? It's like, well, why? Like you said, why? But I can understand why he would do it.
Yeah, but looking at it from a a Spurs perspective, and even Ange probably, I don't know if he is or not, but as Spurs fans as well, we're in the dire, right? I don't mean Eric Dyer, yeah. We're in the dire. We've just lost a centre back, injured, sent off. Left back's got sent off, and you're now, instead of being part of the team and that, you've now decided to say, do you know what? I'm not getting game time, like you said, Sam. I don't think he was ever going to come on yesterday anyway, because the game didn't dictate for him to come on, because Brendan Johnson, had we had 11 men or whatever, I think Brendan Johnson would have absolutely annihilated Reece James and them lot the way he was playing. So he doesn't get in that team quite first. So he's probably thinking, fuck this. You know what I mean? I'm going to go and get it done because I don't care. He's now become not a team player. And I think that's well bang out of order. Who knows? I don't know. I'm just speculating. I don't know. But if that is the case, then I think that's wrong.
No, I think that there's a comment there from David Clark about the sweeper keeper. If you want to put that up so I can maybe just answer that. So, yeah, there's some truth into that. You can play a sweeper keeper when you have playing halfway line, but you have to have pressure on the ball. You have to. The player making the pass, if they're not pressurized, has time and space. If you make a run from deep, as I said, I've done the coaching. I know exactly how they can play it. We saw yesterday's game that we did have the sweeper keeper, because there was a couple of opportunities when Vicari did come out and he swept up. It was a bit close, but he did it. It was very close. This is what I'm saying about, if you drop the line back 5 to 10 yards, you have to be more accurate with your passing, yes. But when you play it out wide, if you're 5 to 10 yards back, then that ball across isn't played into as much space, because there is less space to play it in. So your keeper has more opportunities to come out, maybe to sweep a keep, or your defenders have got less space to have to run into. So the ball across then has to be really accurate. It's tweaks to the tactics, how you do it, but it can be done. But I agree with you. You can't play a sweeper keeper on the halfway line if you don't have pressure on the midfielder playing that pass. It's impossible. It's impossible. With 11-9, no chance.
But I tell you what, my keeper, man. My keeper.
Oh, he's great. He's great.
Fucking keeper, man. Phenomenal performance. Even some of the saves that he made, phenomenal. This guy is going to be one of the best keepers in the world at some point. You is saying the reason he never allowed the players to sit back is because he is teaching the players to play a certain way. I'd rather they played like that than sit back like cowards. Do you know what? It's very entertaining when you're playing that way. However,
I'll ask you a question. And whether we've seen it or not, I don't know. Do you think City would have played like how we played with 9 men? I don't think they would have played as naive. I think they would have still been aggressive, but I don't think they would have been. They certainly would have known you have to have banks. If you've got 8 outfield players, you have to have 2 banks. You can't have 1 bank. You even possibly could create 3 banks, but you certainly have a minimum of 2 banks, 4 and 4,
but
5 and 3. But you have to do it.
I would say their players are better than our players, even on their bench. They've got players. They probably would have made the substitutions, and they probably would have bought on. You take Diaz off, they'll have Ake on there, or you'll have that player on there. So they will have like-for-like replacements. We didn't. We had to bring on midfielders. Some of our midfielders are not as good as City's players. City probably wouldn't have played his our way. In fact, City probably would have gone on to beat Chelsea with 11 men, with their 9 men. I guarantee you that. Because City wouldn't, I agree with you. City would not have sat back. No way would they have sat back and done what we've done. But it's the Ange way. That's the way Ange wants to play. We come unstuck yesterday, yes, against 9 men. But that's his philosophy. That's the way he's going to play. He's already said it.
I'm gonna ask an unpopular question then. If he plays like this for the next 3 games and we lose all 3 games because of the same philosophy, all the rest of it, and we lose those 3 games in a manner which is similar to the manner that we've lost against Chelsea. I'm not saying it's going to be 9v11, but they score 2 or 3 goals. Let's say we go up to City, they score 5 against us. We go to Villa. Do you know what I mean? Oh, Villa are coming to us, aren't they?
They're coming to us.
And they knock in a couple of goals because they will get opportunities.
Yeah.
Are we still going to have the same? Okay, we're believing it. Football is confidence. It's all about confidence. That's why we were playing so well. We had managers of the month for 2 months in a row, players of the month for 2 months in a row, throwing darts at celebrations. You're confident. James Maddison's coming onto the pitch. Yeah, this is my own. You start getting knocked 3-1s, 4-2s, 3 whatever, and you're getting opportunities. You know your defense isn't as solid as it was before. You know that you're right. We're not getting as many opportunities because we can't control the game as much. The confidence goes. And that's where the manager's going to get paid. Can he instill the confidence in these players to keep playing like that when you've had 3 defeats, which could be 4? Because let's say we go the next 3 games and don't win, that would be 4 games. I'm not saying that's going to happen because 11v11, we should be able to control at least Wolves. But I don't know because Wolves are decent. They know Gary, what's his name? Gary O'Neill can set up tactically. It's that aspect of it that I worry about from an Ange perspective because we know how he's going to play. Yeah. I don't know how Gary O'Neill's going to approach this game. You might think, you know what? I've seen something now. They play this high line. Can I get the width? Can I really stretch them? They've got Ben Davies at centre back with Eric Dyer. They can't. I'm going to put 2 on 2. I'll play 2v2. This is where Ange is going to really show me what he's got. I think he's got it, but I just don't know whether this sort of if we've got 5 players, we're going to play like that. But that to me, I'm not sure.
It was always good whilst we were winning 8 to 10 games. Yeah,
100%.
8 wins, 2 draws. Always good. Always good. We've not been at our best at some games. We've grinded out a lot of results. We've got lucky a few times, right?
Agreed.
And now, like simply Ace is saying, the real test is now. 100%. How many times have we said, Sam, on reactions and previews? It only takes 1 injury. It only takes 1 sending off or whatever. Then we're going to be to our backbones. Then the Davises, the Eric Dyers all come into the equation. Yesterday, what we was hoping would happen in stages happened in 1. 2 red cards, both our centre backs, in 1 sent off, 1 injured, could be out for months, right? We haven't got a replacement. We've been saying we're going to dread this. Deep down, Postecoglou's probably thinking the same. I hope I don't lose both of them at the same time. I can cope with one of them being injured. I can't cope with both being out, one being out for X amount of time and one being out for stupid tackle for 3 games. I'm fucked. Yeah.
This so is what test, the last. Yeah, sorry.
I was going to say the test now is what does he do? How does he do it? And now all eyes, everybody's been waiting for us to falter. Everybody. And now looking by what's been going on social media, and that the beginning of the end is nigh.
So I think there's opportunities. You always got to look at the positives in situations or any situation. There is a positive to be looked at. The positives being players are going to get opportunities, whether that's the under 21s, those who have been very successful, or players like Dyer, players like David. Let's see if they have been improved from a coaching perspective. Let's see if Ange, because we said that last season, I said that Conte hasn't improved these players. None of them are being coached. He's just trying to put them out onto the pitch. We've seen that there has been an improvement, but has there only been an improvement with the players that have been brought in that want to play and that are playing and are motivated? It's always a case in football. The players that are not playing, how they react. How is Ben Davies going to react now coming into this? How is Dyer going to react if he's going to be playing long term? Is Ange going to say, yeah, I'm going to go with this old guard? Or, as I'm thinking he might do, throw caution to the wind, bring in some of these youngsters. Let's play actually, because we've got a young defence anyway.
Yeah.
Porro is 22, 23. Van der Ven's 22. Udoji's 20.
Yeah.
Romero's 26, 27, I think.
Yeah.
So it's a risk. We could play all youngsters at the back, or we bring in experience. It's going to have its balance either way, and it's going to go one way or the other, fam.
Yeah, 100%. David said, look, we played like stiffs against Sheffield United in the cup. I think that was different. I think now I think is the real test, in my opinion. Now we'll see what, like you just said, what the players, what the manager are now made of, because we've only lost 1 game, but it's all doom and gloom apparently everywhere. We was going to lose a game eventually, but not in this manner against them lot. Yes. Not with the injuries. Yes. You've got to deal with it. And now let's see, we've been enjoying it all. Now let's see what is round the corner, and let's see how he reacts. Let's see how the players react, because now they know we can't rely on Van der Ven. We can't rely on Romero. Destiny Oddity is going to be out for a couple of games. You know, maybe they might be thinking, oh, fuck. Dyer's coming back. Davies is coming back. But
yeah. That's what I think.
Yeah. This is
so
it.
my last thing on the defenders, last thing on this, on the game itself, in terms of, you know, had we lost that game 11v11 and we had the same sort of result, we'd all be here probably, you know, looking to probably burn down the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium because of but we have circumstances that made that result what it was yesterday. Now, going into the Wolves game, it starts again, 11v11.
Yeah.
I would even say, even with our two centre-backs not being present, and they won't be, we should still have a better team than Wolves. No one should be able to come to me and say, oh, just because you got your two centre-backs, you shouldn't have a better team than Wolves. I don't know what injuries they have. They might have one of their best players. I don't know. But we should have a better team than Wolves. We're certainly in a better position than Wolves. So we can't go into this game thinking, oh, no, that's it now. That's it now. Because, no, it's not it now. It's now seeing what the football's going to be like with the players that come in. That's what I'm more interested in.
And just one thing I want to say to you, Sam. Honestly, do you think the referee was a disgrace? Do you think it was embarrassing? And also, should we ask for a replay? Just thoughts in the comment section, guys. I know the reason I'm saying that, Sam, you might have clocked why I'm saying that. But do you think it's a disgrace? Do you think it's an embarrassment? Yeah? What did our manager say? Yeah, mate, it happens. You get decisions in your favour sometimes. You don't. It happens. You know what I mean?
So, I would rather him do that than do what Klopp did and what Arteta did, because you're just moaning after that. And it's on your mind still. What you've got to do, psychology suggests this in terms of, you know, top level sports. You can't dwell on the past. In tennis, if a player dwells on the missed point that he had, you don't become the Rafa Nadals, the Djokovic, because you have to play in the now. You know, that's gone. Say what you say. You can't then keep, I'm going to then write a letter the next day, because you're still on your mind. He's now got to focus on Wolves. He's now got to think, what am I going to do in terms of playing these? But that's what the next stage is. Forget that now. It's gone. You can moan about it, but it's going to happen again.
We've had an invasion of the Gooners, by the looks of it.
They are TV, man.
They've all come out, they've been waiting, But Brendan,
you know what?
just to say something.
They're worried about their Gold Cup. That's what I think a lot of them. I see some people putting up, oh, we still got our Gold Cup. Oh, brilliant. Yeah. Well done.
Brenny K, just to, you know, if you had 9 men and you lost to Chelsea and they scored in the 94th and 98th minute, I probably would have said they shit. Not you. They are shit. If they can only beat a 9-man team in the 94th and 98th minute to secure a win, then I would have said, not your shit. I would have said, Chelsea, you're shit. So, you know what? It is what it is. You know, it is what it is. On a different day, we would have absolutely battered them. And even with 9 men, we should have got the point. But it is what it is, guys. You come on, you enjoy yourselves. You concentrate on your game tomorrow. Don't worry, because I'm sure if you lose, you're going to blame the ref. It's going to be an embarrassment or whatever. Sam, so I think who's put David Clark has put on here. Well, David Clark said here, what makes it worse is that Chelsea are a shocking side. They are a shocking side, but let's see what happens.
They've got quality in their seat. They might be shocking, but they've got quality players.
Yeah.
And I keep saying, if you're playing 11v9, you don't have to have that much quality to be able to play a pass. If you're a professional footballer and you're given time and space, and you know how to make runs because that's what you do in training every day, you should get this result from 60 minutes of playing 11v9. You should. You should be that result. Any team that doesn't means you're not doing your attacking right, because you can make that so massive a pitch. But like I said, it's gone. Let's focus on what we're going to put in our places in terms of our jigsaw puzzle now to see what we're going to do in the next 3 games particularly.
Armory TV, wow, Sid blew up. No, I didn't blow up. I saw you guys come on, so that's why I just said it. I'm not. Listen, you know me by now, man. I don't blow up. It is what it is. 9 men we lost. I'm not, I mean, Mr. Silver Fox knows me. I've had chat conversations with him. I am just as good. If you play well, I'll tell you how it is. If you're shit, you're shit. If you're good, you're good. I say it how it is. Anyway, we're early kickoff on Saturday, Sam. So if we beat Wolves, we put the pressure back on City and the rest of them. So it's like you said, it's still in our own hands. If Postecoglou gets it all together, gets them geared up, gets in whoever he needs to get in for the game. Like I said to you, our midfield and our forward line is capable of winning that game at Wolves. It's just what happens at the back is going to be our problem. I don't have a problem with Emerson Royal and Pedro Porro as our wing backs. It's just that middle. We've got a keeper in top form. It's just the middle two. And to be fair, Eric Dyer, I don't mind as cover for the time being. It's just who he gets partnered with and whether they're going to be up to scratch. But we will find out on Saturday. And then the good thing is we've got a 15-day break after that. And we can...
Let's hope Van der Ven's back in that time.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. You never know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you might not see him for 15 months. No, joking.
Yeah. This is it. But
he's gone for a while. I'm not saying this just to kind of be defeatist, but even if it was a slight pull as opposed to a tear, proper rupture, it's still 6 to 8 weeks. It's 2 months.
I think
it doesn't matter.
I think it's going to be longer than that because he got stretched off and he wasn't walking.
Yeah, he was hobbling. I thought he had tears in his eyes. 100%. He's not going to be back this side of Christmas. If we get him back for February, we've done well.
Good luck.
Because that's why we need to go in January to get some players. Send them back 100%.
100%. Respect to you, Shane and C. Keep up the great work. Thank you, guys. Thank you. And I'm sure you're doing exactly the same on your channel as well. Keep up the good work. At the end of the day, we still a family. So, yes, we will.
We're still above them as well.
And we're still above them. Right. So, Sam, final thoughts then on the defeat and looking forward to Saturday.
So, final thoughts are obviously disappointed losing that. Emotionally, it was hard yesterday to kind of go through that. It's Chelsea, blah, 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 all the rest of it. Thinking about circumstances, we can look at circumstances all we like. Yes, there were some things that went not according to plan, but now's the point where Ange is being tested. The next 3 games, I want to see what he's got about him in terms of being able to keep the confidence with these players, because the first defeat after 11 games, knowing that you haven't got your first choice centre back. So how's the rest of the team going to react to that? Can you bring in personnel to maybe do a good job? You can't just do a job. You have to do a good job when you come in, and let's see what happens in the next game. 1 game at a time, Sid, I think. But yeah,
this is it. I mean, my final thoughts. We started off well yesterday. We let the occasion get to us as always. Should have calmed it down. At half time. Come back at second half and just see how it went. But we just went for the gung ho. Injuries, sending offs didn't help us. However, we move on. Forget about it. It is done. We can't reverse it. You can't ask for a replay. So
you can't write to the PGML or whatever they call it.
Exactly, PGML or whatever. We move on to Saturday. We're first on Saturday, 12:30. We go out. Let's see what he does. We win that game. We've got 15 days then to recuperate. Postecoglou can then do what he wants to do. If he wants to, he'll know by then the severity of Van der Ven. He knows Romero's not going to be around. So then he'll have 15 days to sort of get together the players who he wants. He can, make whoever he wants to play, Ashley Phillips and Dyer, they can practice for 14 days, 15 days, and then we all begin again. I'm not even looking at the moment at Villa and Man City, West Ham, Newcastle game. It's Saturday, it's Wolves. We get over what happened yesterday. We get the 3 points. We go back to the top for the time being until they all play. And we relax. Season's a marathon, not a sprint. Injuries were going to happen. We've got to take it in our stride, unfortunately. We've got to do what we've got to do. And we've always said that, Sam, didn't we? That injuries and suspensions and whatever, is going to play a big part, and it's done it now. So,
yep, it has.
It has.
Let's see. As you said, Saturday. Let's see.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, in the comments section. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for all your positive comments. Make sure you subscribe to PRTvSpurs. Smash that like button.
I like this comment. Sorry, I was just going to say.
That's all right. If we
That's
beat
true.
Wolves, this will show we are exactly. This that's what I'm saying. Yesterday is just an anomaly. Yeah. We knew one way or the other how it was going to go. We was all confident we was going to win, but it's Chelsea, and then they showed obviously a little bit of inexperience and naivety and whatever. We beat Wolves on Saturday. It's not going to be an easy game, but make sure you join us Friday evening for the preview show. I'm sure myself and Sam probably will do the preview. There'll be a reaction show after Saturday's game, and then obviously we'll be talking points. Judge Jodi should hopefully be back to do the player ratings. Anything else to add, Sam?
No. I think I'll be doing the oh yeah, that's what I'll be doing. I'll be doing the preview show and the reaction show, hopefully. Well, not hopefully, because I am in Tenerife. So I'm getting there for 4 days.
Are you going to Tenerife?
Yeah. Just me as well. Just me, Mrs. Coleman.
Just you?
Yeah. I literally, yeah, because the thing is, I had between my contracts and I just needed to get away for a couple of days.
Fair enough.
I decided, yeah, quick little package tour. Let's do it.
Okay. Good.
Only for like just 4 days.
So it'll be live from London. Live special appearance from Tenerife. Please ensure join us for the preview show, the reaction show, Tottenham versus Wolverhampton Wanderers at Molineux. Have a great evening. Enjoy the rest of the week. Don't let this get to your heart. Spurs will be back on Saturday. Have a great evening. We look forward to seeing you for the preview show on Friday. Good evening.
Develop